How dumb does the system think we are? 30 years or 3 decades of his iron rule over the North African state of Egypt. Hosni Mubarak refuses to step down, even though the head of the CIA is in front of Congress saying he's going to step down in a few hours. Mubarak comes out and defiantly says, I will not step down. I will not let this foreign conspiracy overtake Egypt. And then magically, we're now told he had a stroke right after that. And the army announced the next day that they would be, quote, reforming things. This is a public military coup. There's no democratization. There's no calls for election. CNN and Anderson Cooper, who's admitted CIA, are announcing how great this move towards freedom is. Mubarak is reportedly in Egypt with a stroke, or maybe even dead. He's in northern Israel on the side of the sea. We don't know where he is. And where's the media? This is an issue that isn't even being discussed. Right after he says, I will not step down, this happens to him. What's developing here is the bodies are being buried. This guy has been the distribution center for the kidnapped people being taken to torture sites all over the world. This is the main central site for black sites or ghost sites where all this illegal activity is going on. This guy has the dirt on George W. Bush. He has the dirt on Barack Obama. This is the man who's followed all of their orders. But there's a problem. In the last year, it's been reported that Hosni Mubarak refused to politically get behind green-lighting an attack on Iran when Egypt is on Israel's western flank. Hosni Mubarak refused to expand other wars in the region. And this is a message to all the other Arab regimes. You get behind this buildup towards war with Iran, or it's over for you politically. And now the Muslim Brotherhood, is admittedly British intelligence, is trying to overthrow Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Jordan, all of these allies. What does this say to people that have gone along with the New World Order? What does it say to individuals watching out there that have bought into teaming up with this system? You will be betrayed in the end. How much more obvious does it have to get? And you look at the fate of Nasser with the heart attack after he gave a defiant speech, and other leaders in Egypt and many other countries. This is a message being sent out to the world, not just Middle Eastern politicians, not just politicians in Africa or Latin America or Asia, but to American politicians. Just like the message was sent with John F. Kennedy's murder. If you don't play ball and submit to the banking cartel, we will kill you, whether it's a gunshot to the head or whether it's a convenient stroke or heart attack. But the current issue that's looking us right in the eyes, that's in our face, is why isn't the corporate media in the U.S. talking more about the mysterious disappearance of Hosni Mubarak? The biggest story in the world right now is Egypt and the rebellions spreading all over the Middle East, North Africa. Why isn't it a bigger discussion about where Mubarak has gone to? And what messages it send to all these pliant dictators and servants that the British and the Swiss and others are moving to seize the ill-gotten gains of Hosni Mubarak after he served them so well. Yes, Mubarak was a terrible dictator, just like Saddam Hussein, just like bin Laden was a globalist asset. But why are they treating their servants so badly? Did they ask him to do something so horrible that his conscience kicked in? We know the facts. There was a Western-funded military coup of Egypt. There are no elections. Just like shark teeth, Mubarak has been removed and another row has rolled up. And then we're told this is freedom? The people are smart enough to understand what's happening. And if the globalists want dictatorships in Egypt and in every other country they influence, what do they want domestically? And we know they want a police state tyranny. And the very same corporate interests that run Egypt run the United States through fraud. And they're threatening members of Congress, they're assassinating people, and we are all under this yoke of global corporate tyranny. But once we wake up and are aware of it, it loses its power. So wake up. To learn more about this and other vital topics, visit INFOWARS.com and PRISONPLANET.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.
for you to go places in half the time it takes to travel by car. For some trips, it'll be faster than flying, without the pat-down.
It's the sort of security we've seen a lot of since 9/11 at places like airports, and now here at the bus station.
Specific, credible, recent threats that are causing what some believe to be these invasive screening tactics.
Well, Robin, we know the threats are real, and we've seen this latest information coming out of Al-Qaeda in Arabian Peninsula.
Remind Americans why we now check our liquids. It's because a mother was willing to blow up the baby and the entire plane with the liquids.
Right. The Department of Homeland Security has not been forthcoming with the public about the true extent of radiation risk.
Advanced imaging technology would not have discovered the type of bomb that Umar Farouk Abdul-Muttalib had secreted in his underwear.
Well, I think reasonable people may disagree on that.
We are not retaining, we are not keeping. They're not designed for that at all.
The TSA is reiterating today that although its machines can store images when they're being tested, quote, all functionality to store, export, or print images is disabled.
Throughout history and in every culture, there is a basic precept of law that if someone has been caught lying before...
What's the difference between lying and misleading Congress?
It all has to do with your state of mind and whether or not you had the requisite intent to come up with something that can be considered perjury or a lie.
You should not believe anything else that they tell you.
It would not apply to those who are here illegally. It's not true.
And when someone has been confirmed to be a congenital or serial liar, you are a fool to believe anything they say.
It has been months, and you tell me that you're not, you weren't doing it because of an IG investigation. Well, let's go through a few questions here, Madam.
Well, wait just a minute.
No, wait.
Let
me finish my question.
Wait just a minute.
Madam Secretary, let me finish my question.
Go ahead, that insinuation is not accurate.
You know about the TSA and their penchant for molesting children, raping women in parking lots, robbing luggage, stealing cash out of wallets, beating people up, and then lying about them. You know about their penchant for child porn and the incredible statistical analysis that we've seen that they are predisposed to engage in crime. No kidding. Who else wants a job groping men, women, and children all day and making old ladies who can't walk crawl out of wheelchairs and ripping colostomy bags off of people's sides? Who else wants to abuse people all day but criminals and control freaks? But in this report, I want to look at just some of their lies because they're constantly lying. And the prostitute traitor stream media that serves the globalist and these brown shirts of the federal takeover need to all be called on the carpet. Now, let's just look at the latest lie that came out today. The Tennessean newspaper reports Nashville airport video doesn't show irate Senator Rand Paul. And they link to the video, and there is Paul being completely calm with the police. They're now also having to admit that he was detained for more than an hour and a half, as he said he was, which under common law is a custodial arrest. So there you have it. Within minutes of this being put out by Ron Paul on his Twitter, the New York Times talked to the TSA and said he wasn't even stopped for 5 minutes. He's a liar, and he was irate. And the police put in their report, part of this culture of lying, that he was irate. All lies by a group of people that lie and lie and lie some more. And then, of course, lie some more. And we have the White House siding with the TSA. We have Rush Limbaugh coming out and saying, oh, his dad's like a Muslim terrorist. You know, let start the groping. You know, after all, he flies on private jets. But let's look at some of the TSA lies that affect us all. Radiation. They've had studies back in the late 1990s from these same systems. And that's why they weren't deployed all over the world. These things have been around for decades, that they're massively linked to different types of cancer. So Johns Hopkins and many other prestigious universities come out and put out reports in the last few years saying, our studies show this stuff can give you cancer. I mean, the scans are so powerful, you can see the skeleton bones in the fingers. I mean, it's high-powered. And all these studies come out, so the TSA comes out and says, Johns Hopkins says it's totally safe. And the head of Johns Hopkins radiology department comes out and says, our study actually says the opposite. And the TSA doesn't correct their mistake because it's not a mistake. They are a pack of criminal, out of control, 10th Amendment violating and 4th Amendment violating goons who are now setting up checkpoints on the highways of America. And that's why the feds don't care how much anger or how many tens of billions in tourism the TSA destroys from foreigners that won't come here and Americans like myself that won't travel because I won't have my family groped, because they're getting ready to be all over the United States. They're going to hire your local police, it's been announced. They're going to run checkpoints, mobile vans. It's already happening. So you think you're just not going to fly and get away with this? Oh, sorry. There's plenty of people that couldn't hold a job at McDonald's that are going to be officer and agent TSA. And your wife's in deep trouble. And your children, they're in even deeper trouble. Psychologists have come out and pointed out that the TSA groping of children is actually training them that when pedophiles touch them to test and see if they've been acclimated for rape, that they will submit to the touching and not say no. And what's the TSA say? They say, we don't think that's the case. And again, lie to the public and say everything's okay and claim, despite the fact that there are hundreds of videos and photos showing them taking babies' diapers off and going in the pants of small children, they come out and say over and over again for 3 years, we do not go in the clothes or even through the clothes and touch genitals of under 12. And then hundreds of videos come out and they say, okay, we're going to stop. Last time they said that was in November of 2010. And continued it over and over again and said again, we won't do it. Continued it. Lying, lying, lying. First they say it's not groping and sexual assault. Then they say they're not doing it. Then they say they're going to stop doing it and continue it over and over again. Lying about radiation, lying about groping,